Oh, you know what it is. Fight week is upon us. Welcome into the UFC 317 breakdown. Jon Anik alongside DraftKings own Tanner Kern. Tanner, we're liking the green hoodie. I mean, the crown is yours. Can we get a green hoodie? That looks great, man. How we doing?
Appreciate it. Doing well, John. Excited for the pay-per-view this weekend.
Where are you right now in the United States of America?
Boston, Massachusetts, of course.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Subtle, just back out and show Tommy there. All right, we got a lot going on. This UFC 317 breakdown is brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. It is International Fight Week. It is the biggest week of my calendar year, and UFC 317 is an absolute monster. So we're going to pick your brain today. We got a lot of different things to discuss from a betting perspective, some parlay options potentially on the back end as well. So let us get right into what will soon be a vacant UFC lightweight title. It is not vacant yet, but as soon as they lock the door behind Charles Oliveira and Ilia Topuria, this belt will be vacant. So right now on DraftKings Sportsbook, and the prices bounced around a little bit, but Ilia Topuria is the minus 410 betting favorite. Charles Oliveira comes back plus 320. So Topuria gets the red corner, Tanner, despite the fact that he has only once competed in this division. He is taking on the most decorated finisher in UFC history in Charles "Do Bronx" Oliveira with a wealth of experience inside of this division. But when I hear my contemporaries, my broadcast partners, fellow fighters talk about Topuria, they feel like he deserves this distinction. What do you have for us on the main event of UFC 317?
Yeah, John, the odds do heavily favor Topuria, and they should, because he's the better fighter coming into the spot. When you talk about Charles Oliveira, you can make the case that he's being doubted coming in here. You got to look at the styles. He's got a great one. He could win as a heavy underdog. 3 inches in height, 5 inches in reach. The leg kick combinations can be really deadly. If this fight gets to the mat, I think Oliveira has a pretty deadly submission arsenal and a really good chance to win. But when you're talking about Topuria, he is so dominant right now, and it's really hard to go against him. You look at how he handled Max Holloway and Alexander Volkanovski, fantastic in those fights. And I really think Oliveira has to be careful here. He's known to take strikes consistently, and that has not improved with his age. And then also when you're looking at Topuria too, he can go to the mat against Oliveira. 8 of his 16 wins have been by submission. He's dangerous on top. He's very heavy. Oliveira can be dangerous from his back as well, but Topuria's well-rounded fighting style just really makes me think we're not going to see the main event go the distance on Saturday. So Topuria's getting nearly 80% of the bets. I think that's warranted. Yeah. He's the public's darling in this fight. And I really do think he's going to find a way just to dominate this one here. And it's worth the squeeze for the heavy price you're going to pay. If you take him to win by finish at minus 225, good parlay piece. And I think we're going to see that one be successful on Saturday.
Nicely laid out, my man. And it is so interesting for me because sometimes maybe I'm a little bit too insulated. And I wonder why most people just don't like this matchup stylistically for Charles, or they feel like Topuria is all the rage. But Corey Sandhagen, Kenny Florian, other fighters I talk to, a lot of them are as bullish as you are as to Topuria's chances to leave Las Vegas as the undisputed UFC lightweight champion. We'll see where that number ends up closer to closing time on Saturday night. If you have not been getting in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, now might be a good time to do so. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of UFC. And right now, new customers, how about this? You can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Just download that application. When you're done watching us, or maybe you can do it from your cellular telephone right now, use code TKO when you sign up. The crown is yours. All right. Now let's get to the co-main event, and perhaps this fight will command some two-way action, perhaps not. Pivotal flyweight clash between the reigning champion Alexandre Pantoja. He is the minus 270 betting favorite, taking on the always explosive Kiwi Kai Kara-France, who comes back plus 220 at least right now. So Pantoja finally getting the appreciation from the masses, from the fan base, as he continues to ride this winning streak. 4th defense of his title. He's won 7 in a row. He's got 3 wins over Brandon Moreno, if you count the exhibition on The Ultimate Fighter. He also fought Kai Kara-France 9 years ago on that same Ultimate Fighter season. That was July of 2016. Tanner, I think a lot of people want to throw out that footage just because so much developmental time has expired since that first meeting. But Pantoja is an incredible grappler. He is durable. Most people can't keep up with his pressure and pace. Kai Kara-France comes from an outstanding camp. I mean, it's really 2 power gyms, American Top Team and City Kickboxing, going toe-to-toe. How do you see the co-main event playing out? And if you've got a betting side, we will certainly take that as well.
Yeah, I think it's a really bad matchup for Kai Kara-France here, especially in a 5-round fight. When you look at Pantoja's takedown game, he's just relentless on top, super heavy as well. And it's going to be really hard, I think, for Kara-France in this fight. Now, he could catch Pantoja. That's the benefit of his style, but I don't think there's just going to be a lot of opportunities, especially early in the fight. We've seen Pantoja consistently. He's always active. He's always moving around. And it's going to be really hard for Kara-France to land that knockout shot that he's probably going to need to win this fight. When you look at Pantoja, multiple signature ground submissions, and I really just don't trust Kara-France on his back at all, especially in a 5-round fight. We get to rounds 4 and 5. If this fight goes that long, it's going to be very difficult for him to stay alive here. And also, too, when you're just looking at the counters, Kara-France, he may be able to land something if Pantoja makes a mistake, but it's going to be really hard because just the relentlessness on top, relentlessness on the feet. I think we're going to see a really successful fight here from Pantoja. So if it does go the distance, I'd be very surprised here. Like my pick for the main event, I'm going to take the favorite to win by finish for plus 125, getting really good value considering Pantoja can win on the feet, and then also with his just submission and grappling game.
You know that City Kickboxing team and Kai Kara-France have been doing their homework and trying to put their athlete and their team in the best position to handle this challenge. But my gosh, if it weren't for Demetrius Johnson, who 11 times successfully defended this UFC Flyweight Championship, I think people would be talking about Alexandre Pantoja in a different sort of breath and with the word greatness more attached to it. But when you're always chasing someone like DJ or John Jones, I think it becomes very difficult. All right, so we got 12 fights on the playbill right now at UFC 317. I don't know how much you like to spread your action around historically, but in terms of maybe some underdog magic out there, is there any direction you can point us in at UFC 317, my good man?
There's a lot of good betting value on this card. My favorite dog of the night is going to be Beneil Dariush. Money line against Renato Moicano. These two fighters are nearly identical when it comes to the odds. Both have similar heights and reach. They have elite grappling backgrounds. They want to hunt takedowns early. They're heavy on top. Moicano has only recently been stopped by Islam. Prior to this, he had the 4-fight winning streak going where he won 3 inside the distance. And as good as Moicano's been, you have to factor in desperation for Dariush here. Has not fought since December 2023. I don't think he has a ton of chances left if he keeps suffering early losses, back-to-back first-round knockout losses to Oliveira and Sarukian. No shame in losing to these two fighters, as we know, but I think we're going to see a highly motivated Dariush on Saturday night just because of the recent results. Now, this is a much better matchup for him as well. I don't think he has to fear the first-round knockout as much. He shouldn't have as much fear just getting knocked down in general by Moicano, and I do give him the slight wrestling edge in this fight. Now, if Moicano gets on top, he's very heavy. It could be tough for him, but at the same time, too, I think it's his fight to go out and win here. So we're seeing a low number tickets, high amount of money as well on Dariush. So I will gladly take the short underdog in this fight. Can indicate some sharp money there, and that's always a good thing.
Bro, I shave my head because my hair is white. And I'm telling you, and you are much more embedded than I am, but if Benny Dariush's hair wasn't gray bordering on white, I think it's reflected in the price. I really do. I think he would be less of an underdog, and I do think you've done your homework on that fight. It's a fascinating matchup. But I do think people feel like Benny's 46 years old because he's got that gray hair. All right, so there will come a point in time in my career where I am not contractually barred from betting on mixed martial arts. And there's going to be a lot of carnage. Like, I don't profess to be a guy who's going to do well. It's going to be reckless. It's going to be volume betting. But when I do it, it's going to be straight wagers because historically I'm just not a big parlay guy. I haven't done well as a parlay bettor, whether it's MMA or another sport. But again, you're the expert on this panel when it comes to this particular exercise. So UFC 317 sounds like you've cooked up a parlay for our fans. What do you have?
I have cooked up a main card money line parlay here for plus 863. I'll take it from the top down. Now, again, it's a parlay. You're picking the whole card. It's going to be very difficult to hit, but we're going to try. I'll start with Ilia Topuria on the money line. As good as Charles Oliveira has been, he's going to take punches, which makes him very susceptible on the feet. And at this point, I just think Topuria is better equipped to win the wrestling battle as well. I'll also be taking the favorite with Pantoja on the money line in the co-main. Pace is relentless, always moving, and that's going to take a lot of opportunities away from Kara France on the feet. And we talked about Dariush, desperation in his past 2 fights, went in fearing the knockout. I think this one's going to be much better for him against Moicano, especially if he can get on top early and find a way to finish this one on the ground there. Next up, Brandon Royval. Absolutely love this fight as well on the money line. Joshua Van just fought. We know he's ready. A lot of people are high on him coming into this fight, but when you look at Royval, has looked really strong since losing to Pantoja at UFC 296 with back-to-back wins. So I'm going to support him there as well. And then I'm going to go to the Felipe Lima fight. I'm going to take him over Peyton Talbot. More experience, capable striker, and that's going to be needed to hang with Talbot on the feet. So I think he has the wrestling edge if he can get a few early takedowns. Really like him in this spot. So Topuria, Pantoja, Dariush, Royval, and Lima for plus 863.
Like the main card parlay, so 4 favorites and 1 betting underdog, Beneil Dariush. The Royval Van fight is absolutely fascinating because at least at this point in time, it's holding there minus 115, minus 105 or so. And Royval has tried and tested strength of schedule, but the 23-year-old Joshua Van is all the rage, and people seem pretty convicted on whatever side of that. All right, so we've got a few more options here for the creative bettors out there. I see this cycle parlay popping up. So could you just explain to a straight wager guy like me what exactly is a cycle parlay and if you're going to wet your beak with one this weekend, TK?
Definitely. You gotta wet your beak with a cycle parlay as many times as you can get for these fights. So a cycle parlay is when you take one fighter to win by decision, one fighter by knockout, and another to win by submission. And DraftKings also has a profit boost for method of victory parlays, which works perfect for the cycle parlay here in this case. The decision leg for me is going to be Tracy Cortez. At the time of recording, we're still waiting on the odds for her to win by decision, but she's fought 13 times and only 3 fights have ended inside the distance. I think the age gap here with Viviani is going to show. I think if she stays upright, I just see her chipping away all night and finding a way to win that fight. Topuria, we've talked about him a lot so far. I'm going to take him by knockout. The finishing instincts are unmatched here, and we know he has the ability to get early knockouts. So I'm going to take him over Charles Oliveira as long as he can, counter the leg kicks that I think Oliveira is going to throw at him. I think he'll be just fine and find a way to get that knockout. And then for the submission leg, I'm going to take Pantoja by submission. Kara France doesn't present a lot of challenges for Pantoja on the mat. If this fight stays upright, his leg's probably going to be a little tough to hit. But if he gets the mat because of Pantoja's pace over a 5-round fight, I think he has a really good chance to land a submission here. So that would be the cycle parlay: Cortez by decision, Topuria by knockout, and then Pantoja by submission.
Nicely laid out as usual by Tanner Kern. We have one final order of business for you, and we appreciate greatly you giving us all these different options because, sometimes the handicappers on the Anik and Florian podcast, they don't give you this many options. So you've given us a lot of different ways to attack the board. We close it out with cash on the canvas. So this is critical, right? Like of all the wagers you've given out today, we'd like to get this one correct. If you're giving out one parlay on the entire UFC 317 fight card, what would it be and why?
So I'm going to give you 2 here just to...
Look at this guy, man. You can stay.
I'm going to give you 2. One's a safer option. One's a little bit of a riskier option here. So the co-main and main event are defined by 2 dominant fighters. We've talked about them a lot so far, Topuria and Pantoja. So if you want to parlay them together right now on DraftKings, you can get that price for minus 145. I think that's more than a fair price with how these 2 are coming into their fights and the advantage that they have over their opponents. If you want to get a little more value and slightly riskier, I would take them both to win by finish. You can get that for plus 225 in a parlay. Topuria is a finishing machine. And for Pantoja, if he gets to the mat with Kara France, I really do think he has a great chance for a submission. So plus 225, a lot of good value there with those 2 fighters.
And that's the broadcaster's dream, right? We get 2 finishes in the final 2 fights, and you don't get 25 minutes of fighting, and you're there till 3 o'clock in the morning. All right. Good stuff out of Tanner Kern today. Thanks to the entire DraftKings team at the Sportsbook and at the HQ. Thanks to our producer, Cody Merrow. We are back with you in advance of UFC 318. We hope you've enjoyed the breakdown. For Tanner Kern, I'm Jon Anik. Enjoy the fights live on pay-per-view this weekend.